In the latest update, the Jailbreak guns all got a revamped look and sound. Well, I figured this would be a great time to finally do the ranking that many of you guys have been asking for. A ranking of every single gun in Jailbreak. Keep in mind, this is my personal opinion. There's many different ways to play in Jailbreak, and some guns are more useful for some people than they are for others. Also, in this ranking, I'm only including guns you can actually buy from the gun shop, so I'm not going to include the minigun or the army heli missiles or the nukes or anything like that. I'm going to include the rocket launcher, but I'm not going to include any of the other explosives, and I'm also not going to include the sword and the baton. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. In my opinion, the worst Jailbreak gun is the rocket launcher. First off, this is a really expensive and inconvenient gun. Each bullet costs 1,000 J-bucks. It might be useful if you're dealing with multiple people clumped in one position, but most of the time it's not going to be worth it. Because of the added cooldown, it's also very inefficient. Once you shoot a rocket at somebody, you have to wait for it to reload before you can use it again, and your opponent can easily best you in the meantime. I very rarely use this weapon now. It does come in handy sometimes for shooting down helicopters, since it can lock onto flying vehicles, but besides that, I think it's inconvenient and a waste of money, so I think it's the worst of the Jailbreak guns. Then we've got the plasma pistol. On its own, this gun isn't very good. It costs 50k, which is a lot, and it is way less reliable than other guns which cost way less. But the reason this gun is good is because it serves as an easy way to counter force field users. It's not as valuable now since you can disable the force field by shooting it a select number of times, but it still comes in handy, and in my opinion, it's much better than the rocket launcher because you don't need to spend money on bullets. Recently, it got a buff being able to shoot 20 rounds at once instead of 10, so it's not as bad as many people perceived it to be. Not a great weapon by any means, but serviceable at what it's supposed to do. Then we have the flintlock. This is a great gun to use in combination with other guns like the pistol or the revolver, but on its own, it's not great. It only shoots one bullet, and it takes forever to reload. It only does 45 damage per shot, so your opponent still has more than half of their health. So overall, this is a good combo weapon, but there are several drawbacks and inconveniences to it. After that, we have the Uzi. This weapon used to be so overpowered, and now I think it's at a pretty good spot, but overall, it's definitely one of the lesser guns in the game. It doesn't have great range, and you can't kill somebody with a full clip. It does fire pretty fast, and it can be a good finishing weapon, but even then, I think it has enough downsides that don't justify its use. This is probably one of the least used guns in the game, and it's kind of fallen off, but I wouldn't really change it in terms of abilities. I think it works perfectly fine. Then we have the revolver. This can be a really powerful weapon if used right. It works really well in close quarters. Ultimately though, I see it as a worse version of the pistol. It has worse recoil, the clip only holds 6 bullets, and it's only good in close or mid-range situations. And the reload time is a bit of an inconvenience. However, it's still a very useful weapon. I use it quite frequently, and it works really well in combination with other weapons, so it's definitely not bad. After that, we've got the sniper. This is a really valuable weapon for taking out people that are far away, as well as taking down vehicles. In close range situations, it's obviously not going to be that useful, but it can be a real heavy hitter if you know how to use it right. The reason I'm putting it this low in comparison to other weapons is because I think its use is very specific to certain situations. For example, if you're in a close range fight with somebody who's got like a shotgun or a pistol, you're probably gonna lose if you just have the sniper. But when used properly, it is a very helpful weapon. After that, we have the rifle. This is one of my most used weapons in the game. It's pretty accurate and it does a lot of damage. Definitely one of the most reliable automatics we have. Not much to say on this one. It's a great gun and pretty much everybody accepts it's a great gun. The main reason I'm keeping it this low, however, is due to the price. You have to spend Robux to buy this gun. 425 Robux is not cheap, and I don't think either of the game passes that offer this gun are worth it. So to me, the fact that it's locked behind a game pass does hold it back significantly, and I don't think on its own it's good enough to justify 425 Robux. Kicking off the top 3, we have the AK-47. Compared to the rifle, this gun is slightly less accurate, but it does do more damage. And ultimately, the reason it gets a spot above the rifle in this ranking is because you don't have to spend Robux to get it. This is definitely one of the best obtainable guns in the game, and pretty much every player should use it. It's very useful for close, mid, or long-range confrontations, and it's particularly useful when you're dealing with multiple enemy players. This gun has really come a long way. Make sure sure to comment below if you remember the days when this gun was basically just a joke. For our penultimate weapon, we have the shotgun. One of the most used weapons in the game for good reason. This weapon is very useful in situations of close combat. You can do a lot of damage in a short time, and for me and many others, this gun is a must-have. It's also completely free, which is a huge bonus compared to almost every other gun in the game. But the best gun in the game is, without question, the pistol. This gun is completely free and it is useful in every instance of combat you're gonna find. Close range confrontations, check. Mid-range confrontations, check. Long range confrontations, check. It can shoot pretty fast, you can reload pretty quickly. It has a very low bullet drop. For many people, this is the only gun they need. So, in my opinion, this is the best gun in the game. But that's gonna wrap up my ranking of every gun in Jailbreak. What do you think? Which guns are your favorites and least favorites? I'm not too familiar with gun combat in games in general, so if I got any of the terminology wrong or used stuff incorrectly, please let me know in the comments. And if you disagree with any of my placements, please let me know as well. Just be respectful about it. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.